Hey there, February 17th, Wednesday, still comic book day. In the previous part of this week's reviews, we covered the DC books, and this week we are covering the Marvel books, and we are jumping in with Starbrand and Nightmask, issue number 3. So we pick up this issue with Kevin and Adam leaving their freshman orientation, being spied on by this drone here, as you can see all the different views, and we see that Kevin is becoming a little bit infatuated with Shelley from the cafeteria in the last issue, and we also see him and Adam begin to bond more with Amani, the RA on their floor, and these two seem to be like really actually bonding over tragedy. In this case, they both discover that the other one is a survivor of a major disaster, and they bond over that. So we see Kevin actually learning to relate to other human beings, which was part of this whole college mission in the first place. However, things get more complicated when they are summoned back to the Arctic to deal with the villains, Graviton, Blizzard, and Blast. What were their names? And Nitro, with Graviton, Nitro, and Blizzard. And instead of dealing with them all together, they decide to split up. So where Kevin deals with the villains, and they are beginning to overpower Kevin rather. Nightmask tries to find the source of their power and their puppet masters, which he, because he found out they were under someone's control in the previous issue, so now he goes to find out who is controlling them, and he finds out that they are being controlled and their powers are being amplified by kind of like primal universal forces. Nitro is being powered up and controlled by the kind of incarnation of the Big Bang. Gravitron is being powered up and controlled by the embodiment of gravity, while Blizzard is being controlled by kind of entropy, and powered up by entropy. And we also find out why these kind of extra-dimensional universal forces are empowering these villains and fighting Nightmask and Starbrand. We don't find out the why behind their why, but we do find out those characters' motivations for doing this. And we then, at the end, check to see if Kevin can overpower these foes now that they've leveled up in a way. Not a lot of exposition in this book. I did like the character moments in the beginning of this book where we see Kevin actually bonding with more people at the college. I think that was kind of sweet and well done and honestly done. I also like how the other side of the story is getting really big, that we're dealing with these primal kind of basic forces of nature here, and we're seeing Starbrand, who is one of the Earth's most powerful heroes, going up against forces that actually hold a candle to him, that can actually send him for a ride, you know? I like big powers. That's just something I like in my superhero stuff. I like it big, I like it explosive. This book is delivering on that. And also finding a way to deliver on the more human fronts too. So good on that. And I'm intrigued. I want to see where this story is going. They're pretty high stakes. So there we go with Starbrand and Nightmask. Moving on to the Silver Surfer, issue number 2. And we begin with a flashback to Zenn-La, Norrin Radd's home planet before Galactus, and we find out a little about Norrin's life before leaving his home planet, before becoming Galactus's herald. We see that even back then he had a wanderlust. He wanted to get off his planet and explore the universe. And then we join Norrin in the present, where he is being held on Earth by Dawn, who's enjoying her time back home after the alien invasion of the last issue, and takes the opportunity to show Norrin around her town and help Norrin fall in love with small-town New England as he is getting bored. Things are unfortunately interrupted when this big piece of Zenlanian technology appears over Earth, and Silver Surfer has to, or at least attempts to, gather a bunch of heroes together in order to fight this interstellar threat. He can't find the Fantastic Four because Peter Parker bought their building. The Avengers Mansion is apparently a hotel now, and so Silver Surfer goes to the one person he can always count on, Alicia Masters, who I'm not that familiar with as a character, but apparently goes way back to Silver Surfer, like back to the first coming of Galactus sort of days, so they're pretty tight. And Dawn has to get used to the fact that she is not the Surfer's first companion, and she gets a little bit jealous of Alicia. As the story ends, we find out who exactly is invading Earth. We find out that it's not just their invasion, that they brought someone from Earth along on their side. And, I mean, you don't really find out many answers, but we get enough to set up the story going forward. This issue is leading into, well, the next issue, issue number 3, is going to be the Silver Surfer's 50th anniversary issue. So pretty big deal. And then I think issue 4 is the 200th Silver Surfer comic to be published. So this is a big kind of celebration period for the Silver Surfer. And I do like how this story is bringing in things from the past. It's bringing back Zenla, Norrin Radd's homeworld. It's bringing in Alicia Masters. It's bringing in kind of him being trapped on Earth in a way, even though it's not like a physical barrier. He's still kind of stuck to it and has to relearn through Dawn why Earth is beautiful, and all that. So I like everything they're doing as these kind of thematic throwbacks to earlier Silver Surfer stories. And I really want to see what Dan Slott decides to do with the rest of it. I mean, I've liked what Dan Slott's done so far with Silver Surfer and kind of making it more and more kind of giving it a Doctor Who influence with the whole traveling the universe and companions and all that. And so I want to see how Surfer decides, or how Dan Slott decides to celebrate the Surfer's 50th anniversary. There's a lot going on here. I mean, there's a lot going on here thematically and with the callbacks and all that. But it's still very manageable. It's still, as a single issue of a comic, still very bite-sized. You can still tell what's going on, who all the characters are, you know, the piecing together their motivations. So I'm really enjoying it. It's charming. And it doesn't seem too self-indulgent either, at least not yet, which is good for like a big celebration issue. So I'm really liking Silver Surfer. Still keeps the tone of the Dan Slott run so far, which I've enjoyed. So it has that going for it, and quite liking it. Next up, another Dan Slott book, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 8. We're on 8 already. Just going to mention the Alan... fuck, I forgot his name. How do I keep on forgetting his name? Alex Ross. Alex Ross cover, because, I mean, they're still, like, one of the best things of this book. Just so enjoying these. And this issue concludes the Mr. Negative arc. Finally. I guess not finally, it hasn't been that long. But we conclude that arc. We have Peter, no, not Peter didn't find the cure, but the Doctor did. Dr. Yao found a cure for Mr. Negative's shade, which then causes Peter / Spider-Man to come up with a plan, working with the Shanghai police in order to put a stop to Mr. Negative. And the plan actually goes pretty well. They use the award ceremony as bait in order to lure out Mr. Negative, who falls for the bait and attacks the award ceremony, where he is ambushed by the Shanghai police. Spider-Man undoes Mr. Negative's influence on Cloak, who then undoes the influence on Dagger. Everything really seems to be working out really well. And I also really love the art. Really cool dramatic shadows going on here, but the red's still popping, all that. Really, really cool art, I think. And then things go a little haywire when Leanne betrays Spider-Man and attacks, kind of interrupting the plan. the plan that was going so well for Peter, but of course nothing can ever go too well for Peter at one time. But yeah, as I said, this is a conclusion to the arc, and it wraps up everything really nicely. I actually really enjoyed the resolution and everything. All the characters have their arcs resolved, or at least the arc that was started in this arc. Like, all their separate character arcs are resolved. We have Peter becoming more attentive to things as he realizes that Leanne betrayed him and finds out why. Cloak and Dagger get free from Mr. Negative's control. We have Peter building his relationship with the law enforcement in Shanghai, which has been a theme in this story. And so it closes this whole section of the Spider-Man story off really well. A little too nicely, maybe. It's a very happy ending. Everything kind of wraps up really nicely. It ends on a pun. It ends on Peter quipping to Cloak and Dagger. The art's really good. Just everything about this issue is really just a really super solid ending. Really good Spider-Man story. Everyone's likable. Even Leanne gets a kind of a happy-ish ending, despite betraying Peter in the middle of the book. Yeah, just really nice, cool resolution and everything. And then the art is fantastic. Still really liking the art on this book, too. Yeah, it was, all in all, pretty cute little Spider-Man arc. Not too long, not too short. Everything's resolved nicely. I mean, yeah, nice little, brown paper bag, bow tied, whatever, little Spider-Man story. So, cool. And moving on from that to a new #1, one I've been looking forward to for a while. Power Man and Iron Fist #1. The Heroes for Hire, getting the band back together. That's not much of a band. There's two people still band. And I love just the entire tone of this book. It is a very 70s buddy cop. The whole thing. You can imagine like a slap bass and like bongos and like everything in your head as you read this. It is so, like, it just nails that tone and that mood so well. It is such a fun book to read. As for the plot, it's getting the band back together. It's very, if you've seen Blues Brothers, if you've seen Blues Brothers is kind of the it's not the codifier, it's not the originator, but if you've seen Blues Brothers, this is a familiar story. We got the couple, Iron Fist and Power Man, who getting their office manager back from prison, doing one last deal, getting a necklace back for the office manager. They run into Tombstone. There's a bit of a scuffle in Tombstone's office because of a misunderstanding, I guess is a good way to put it. There's a misunderstanding and there's a scuffle in the office. And yeah, it's just Iron Fist, Power Man, and Iron Fist getting back together. We get the rapport almost immediately. First page, we understand exactly how these two work together. We have Danny, who's the talkative one. Luke is the all-business serious one. We have the secretary character, not the secretary, the office manager character, who's kind of provides the MacGuffin for the story. It's simple, it's tried, it's true, but these characters work, the story works, the plot works, everything works. The mood, again, perfectly nails that kind of 70s buddy cop feel. Yeah, just everything about this book is super duper fun. Again, nothing too original, but it doesn't have to be. It is executed perfectly. Really, really fun. I really can't recommend it anymore. If you like 70s buddy cop stuff, if you like buddy cop stuff at all, if you think you would like these characters, if you like just a buddy cop dynamic of the business one versus the casual one, not versus, working together, it's great. It's great fun stuff. Luke Cage uses fiddle faddle because Jessica Jones doesn't like him cursing in front of the baby. Lots of neat little jokes and character, just everything about this is really, really fun. Really great. I recommend it heavily. Power Man and Iron Fist. And the last Marvel book I read this week is Avengers Standoff. Welcome to Pleasant Hill Alpha #1, whatever they're calling this. it's a cold open. This entire book, this $4.99 book, is a big cold open for this big crossover. A crossover involving lots of books that I don't plan to pick up. As a cold open, I guess it's okay. I mean, it does its job of introducing you to, I guess, the main villains and what their motivation is for the plot in this book, and kind of getting some intrigue in there. It involves this character who has amnesia. He wakes up in this town called Pleasant Hill, realizes something is wrong, tries to escape, doesn't, tries to escape multiple times, keeps on getting foiled in his escape plans. Kind of Groundhog Day, kind of Truman Showy. And if you've seen any of those, if you've seen Truman Show especially, you kind of know where this is going. Especially when this happens and our amnesiac guy, who's called Jim, runs into a barrier. He meets someone else who says this town isn't all it appears to be. There's some like Matrix in here. There's some it's old ideas. It's ideas that aren't completely original. I can't even say the execution is that original. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting stuff, even if it's not completely original. It's done competently. I wouldn't say it's done extraordinarily well. The twists are pretty predictable if you've seen or read anything in this vein. Anything like The Truman Show. There's kind of some Fight Club, not Fight Club, there's kind of some Matrix in there. I got my 1999 movies confused. Yeah, and it even takes place in suburbia for the most part, which is very 90s sort of thing, I guess, is to frame suburbia as jail. Yeah, it feels very 90s. It feels kind of recycled, kind of patchwork. Well, let's take all these cool ideas and put them together and see if we can come up with something new with it. They don't entirely succeed, but... And again, I don't plan on reading the rest of this crossover. I guess if you're reading New Avengers, if you're reading Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you're reading that stuff, this might be worth looking into. Otherwise, yeah, I can't say this is going to go anywhere particularly interesting. So, yeah, that is Avengers Standoff, or Pleasant Hill, whatever they're calling this thing. And that is it for Marvel books this week. Kind of a downer, not exactly a downer ending, but I wish I had ended on Power Man and Iron Fist instead. Would have been a little cheerier. Anyway, that is it for Marvel books this week. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in my opinions on DC books, that is in part 1. If you're interested in my review of books that are from neither Marvel or DC, or nor DC rather, that is coming up in part 3 of this week's reviews, so stay tuned if you're interested. If not, I want to thank you for watching anyway. If you did like this video, please rate it. If you feel like it, please subscribe. Any comments, questions, book recommendations, anything whatsoever, leave them below and I will do my best to respond to them. And that is it for now. Again, part 3 coming up, but thank you for watching, and I hope that you join me for some more comic book reviews.